This book is about a man named Julius Caesar. He lived a very long time ago in a place called Rome. Rome was a big and important city then. Julius Caesar was a famous leader and soldier. He made big changes in Rome. Because of him, history changed a lot. Julius Caesar started his life like many Romans, but he was smart and brave. He worked hard in the government and in the army. Step by step, he became more and more powerful. He was a good soldier and won many fights for Rome. People in Rome knew his name. In his life, Julius Caesar had people who helped him. They were his friends and they wanted him to be strong. But he also had people who did not like him. These people were his enemies. They were afraid of his power. Some of these friends and enemies were very important people in Rome. They made his life difficult and dangerous. Many people thought Julius Caesar was a great leader. He was good at leading soldiers and making plans. He was strong and wanted Rome to be strong too. He made new rules and started big building projects. He wanted to make Rome better for many people. But not everyone was happy with him. Some people in the government, called the Senate, thought he had too much power. They worried he wanted to be a king. In the end, these worries led to a sad event. Julius Caesar died because his enemies stopped him. His death was a big moment in Rome's history. It changed everything again. This book will tell you more about Julius Caesar's life. You will learn how he grew up, how he became a great soldier, and how he changed Rome. You will also learn about the people around him and what happened after he died. 2. Caesar's early life. Gaius Julius Caesar was born on July 12, 100 years before the time of Christ. His family, the Julii, was old and important in Rome. They said they came from a god, Venus. Caesar's father was also named Gaius Julius Caesar. His mother was Aurelia. His father had some success in politics and was a governor in a place called Asia. Caesar's aunt Julia married a very famous and powerful man named Gaius Marius. This connection was important for young Caesar. When he was young, Rome was a dangerous place because of fighting between powerful men like Marius and Sulla. Caesar was chosen for a special religious job, a priest of Jupiter called Flamen Diales. This job meant he had to marry a woman from a good family and follow many rules. He married Cornelia, whose father was an enemy of Sulla. This religious job usually stopped a man from having a big political career. Caesar's father died when Caesar was young. Later, Sulla won the fighting and became very powerful. Sulla told Caesar to divorce Cornelia because her father was his enemy. Caesar said no. Sulla was angry and put Caesar on a list of enemies. Caesar had to hide, but his family helped him. They talked to Sulla, and Sulla let Caesar live, but he had to give up his job as priest. After this, Caesar left Italy and joined the army. He went to Asia, far from Rome. He served under a governor there. He was a brave soldier. In one fight, the siege of Mytilene, he saved the life of another soldier. For this, he received the civic crown. This was a high award for bravery. It showed everyone he was a hero. When Sulla died, Caesar returned to Rome. He wanted to start his political career. He also wanted to be a good public speaker, which was important in Rome. He traveled to Rhodes to study speaking. On his way, pirates captured him. They asked for money for his freedom. Caesar told them they should ask for more money because he was important. After his friends paid, Caesar got ships and soldiers, found the pirates, and captured them. He had them killed. Back in Rome, Caesar began to move up in politics. He became a military tribune. He supported laws that helped people and brought back some rights that Sulla had taken away. In 69 BC, he became a quaestor. This was an important first step. It meant he became a member of the Senate for life. While he was a quaestor, he went to Spain. During this time, sad things happened. His aunt Julia died, and soon after, his wife Cornelia died after having their daughter Julia. Caesar gave speeches at their funerals. At his aunt's funeral, he showed pictures of her husband Marius. This made some old enemies of Marius angry, but it showed Caesar was proud of his family. Caesar married again, this time to Pompeia. He continued his political work. He supported powerful men like Pompey and Crassus. In 65 BC, Caesar became an aedile. This job was about looking after public buildings and organizing games. Caesar spent a lot of money on public games and shows. This made him very popular with the people of Rome. He also put back up statues of Marius that Sulla had taken down. This was a brave political act. In 63 BC, he wanted the job of Pontifex Maximus, the chief priest of Rome. This was a very important position. He won the election, even though he was younger than the other men who wanted the job. Later that year, he was elected praetor, another important job like a judge. There was a big problem in Rome called the Catiline conspiracy, a plan against the government. Some people wanted to kill those who were part of the plan right away. Caesar spoke in the Senate. He said they should not kill Roman citizens without a full trial. He wanted them put in prison instead. But another man, Cato, spoke strongly for killing them, and the Senate agreed with Cato. After being praetor, Caesar went to govern a part of Spain called Hispania Ulterior. He had many debts from his political campaigns, especially from the games he organized. He needed money. In Spain, he led his army in fights against local tribes. He won these fights and got money and riches. This helped him pay his debts and made him a successful military leader. He came back to Rome in 60 BC. He had achieved military success and was popular. Now he wanted the highest job in Rome, consul. But there was a rule. If you wanted a triumph, a big parade for winning a war, you had to wait outside the city with your army. If you wanted to run for consul, you had to come into the city. Caesar had to choose. He chose to give up the triumph for now and run for consul. This showed his big political ambition. The three Caesar in Gaul. Caesar became the governor of a large land called Gaul in 58 BC. Gaul was a big area, much of what is now France and Belgium. It was not one united country, but home to many different tribes like the Helvetii, the Belgae, and the Arverni. Caesar was given an army and the job to keep the borders safe and manage the province. Soon after he arrived, trouble began. A large tribe called the Helvetii decided to move from their lands. They wanted to travel through Roman territory. Caesar saw this as a danger. He quickly gathered his soldiers. He stopped the Helvetii near a river and later fought a big battle against them called the Battle of Bibracte. Caesar won, and he sent the Helvetii back to their home. Then Germanic people led by a king named Ariovistus crossed the Rhine River into Gaul. Some Gallic tribes asked Rome for help. Caesar marched his army to fight Ariovistus. He defeated Ariovistus in another important battle near the Vosges Mountains. Over the next few years, Caesar fought against many other Gallic tribes. He fought the Belgae in the north, winning the hard Battle of the Sabis in 57 BC. He fought tribes in Brittany. Almost all of Gaul came under Roman control, but the tribes did not always accept Roman rule. Caesar was a very smart and effective military leader. He knew how to move his army fast. He used clever tactics in battles. He also ordered great engineering works. He built a bridge across the wide Rhine River in just 10 days, showing the Germans that Rome could cross their border. He also led his army on 2 trips across the sea to Britain in 55 and 54 BC. These were difficult trips, but they showed Rome's power. However, the tribes in Gaul were not fully beaten. In 52 BC, a great Gallic leader named Vercingetorix united many tribes against Roman rule. This was a very serious challenge for Caesar. They fought many battles across Gaul. One of the most important fights was the Siege of Alesia. Caesar's army built strong walls around the city of Alesia, where Vercingetorix and his large army were. Another large Gallic army came to help Vercingetorix, and Caesar's army had to fight on 2 sides, inside and outside their walls. Caesar's soldiers fought bravely and won a great victory. Vercingetorix had to surrender to Caesar. This win at Alesia ended the main resistance in Gaul. Caesar wrote 7 books about his military actions in Gaul. They were called commentaries on the Gallic War. He wrote them in a simple, clear style. These books were sent back to Rome. They told the Roman people about Caesar's brave soldiers and his many victories. He wanted to make sure people in Rome supported him and saw him as a great general. The wars in Gaul lasted for about 8 years. Caesar won almost all the battles. His successes made him extremely famous and powerful in Rome. He gained great wealth from the wars, taking money and selling people into slavery. His soldiers loved him because he led them to victory and shared some of the wealth. This fame, wealth, and the loyalty of his army made Caesar a very strong person in Roman politics. It also made some senators and other leaders in Rome worried about his growing power. The time in Gaul completely changed Caesar's position in the Roman world. 4. Problems in Rome. While Julius Caesar was fighting in Gaul, things in Rome were not quiet. The government in Rome was complex, with many leaders and groups who did not agree. For a time, Caesar had an important group of friends who helped him. There were 3 powerful men: Caesar, Marcus Licinius Crassus, and Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, known as Pompey. They made an agreement to help each other in Roman politics. This group was very strong for some years. They helped each other get important jobs and pass laws they wanted. But this group did not last forever. There were people in the Senate, the main Roman government body, who did not like this group of 3. They thought these men had too much power. A leader named Cato was strongly against them. Over time, the friendship between the 3 powerful men became weak. Crassus died in a war far away. Also, Julia, who was Caesar's daughter and Pompey's wife, died. She was a link between the 2 men. Without Crassus and Julia, the bond between Caesar and Pompey became much weaker. Caesar was very successful in Gaul. He won many battles and became very famous and rich. He also had a loyal army. This made many people in Rome, especially in the Senate, worried. They saw how powerful Caesar was becoming. They were afraid he would use his army to take complete control of Rome. By the year 50 BC, the problems were big. Pompey was now closer to the people in the Senate who were against Caesar. Caesar's time as governor of Gaul was ending. The Senate discussed what Caesar should do. Many senators were afraid of Caesar's army. So the Senate made a decision. They sent a message to Caesar. The message was clear. Caesar must stop being a commander of his army. He must leave his soldiers in Gaul and come back to Rome as a normal citizen. This was a big problem for Caesar. If he came back without his army, his enemies in Rome could hurt him or stop him from getting more power. He could even be put on trial for things he did as governor. Caesar had to make a very important choice. Should he obey the Senate and lose his power and safety, or should he keep his army and fight against the government in Rome? This decision would change everything for Rome and for Caesar. 5. The war starts. Caesar was in Gaul, far from Rome. The Senate in Rome told him to come back, but without his army. This was a problem. If he came back without his soldiers, his enemies in the Senate could hurt him or stop him from becoming consul again. Caesar had a choice: obey the Senate and lose his power, or keep his army and fight. He chose to fight. In early January of 49 BC, Caesar and one army, called Legion 13, came to a small river. This river was called the Rubicon. It was the border between his area and Italy. Roman law said no general could cross this river with an army. Crossing it meant war against Rome itself. Caesar knew this. He made his decision. He led his soldiers across the Rubicon River. It is said that when he crossed, he said words that meant the decision was made and there was no turning back. This moment started a big civil war in the Roman Republic. When people in Rome heard that Caesar had crossed the Rubicon with his army, many were very afraid. Pompey, who was now Caesar's main enemy and had the support of the Senate, was in Rome. He did not have enough soldiers ready to fight Caesar's trained army. Pompey and many senators decided not to stay and fight in Italy. They left Rome quickly. They went south to a city called Brundisium on the coast. From there, they got ships and sailed across the sea to Greece. Pompey wanted to build a large army in Greece and fight Caesar later. Caesar followed Pompey to Brundisium, but he was too late. Pompey and his ships were gone. Caesar could not follow him across the sea right away. Caesar returned towards Rome, but he did not enter the city for a while. He needed to make his power strong in Italy. He also needed to deal with Pompey's armies in other parts of the Republic. Pompey had strong armies in Spain, so Caesar decided to go to Spain first. He marched his army across the land to Spain. There he fought against the leaders and soldiers loyal to Pompey. Caesar was a brilliant general. He won important fights, like the battle near a city called Ilerda. He used smart plans and movements. Soon, Pompey's armies in Spain had to surrender to Caesar. Caesar's friends also took control of other areas like Sicily for him. But a small army sent to Africa was not successful at first. After winning in Spain, Caesar came back to Italy. He was made dictator for a short time to hold elections. Then he was elected as one of the 2 consuls for the next year, 48 BC. Now he had a legal position of power again, but the war was not over. Pompey was still in Greece with a large army. Caesar knew he had to fight Pompey directly. In early 48 BC, Caesar sailed his army across the Adriatic Sea to Greece. Pompey was waiting there with his big army. Caesar tried to trap Pompey near a place called Dyrrhachium by building walls around Pompey's camp. But Pompey's soldiers were able to break through Caesar's walls, and Caesar had to move away. This was a difficult time for Caesar's army. Caesar then moved his army inland towards the southeast of Greece. Pompey followed him. Finally, the two largest Roman armies met for a big battle. This happened near a place called Pharsalus. The date was 9 August 48 BC. Pompey had more soldiers than Caesar, but Caesar's soldiers were very loyal and well led. The battle was hard, but Caesar's army fought better. They won a great victory. Pompey's army was completely defeated. Many of Pompey's soldiers were captured or killed. Pompey himself saw that he had lost. He ran away from the battlefield. The Battle of Pharsalus was a turning point in the civil war. After this, Caesar was the most powerful general. Pompey fled to Egypt, hoping to find safety there. Other enemies of Caesar fled to Africa or decided to ask Caesar for forgiveness. 6. Caesar wins. After his big win at Pharsalus, Caesar went to Egypt. He arrived there 3 days after Pompey. Sadly, Pompey was killed when he got to Egypt. Caesar stayed in the city of Alexandria. He could not leave for some time because the wind stopped his ships. While he was there, he met Cleopatra. She was a queen, but her brother was fighting her for power. Caesar decided to help Cleopatra. There was fighting in Alexandria, which became a kind of war. Caesar defended himself during this time for many months. Then soldiers came to help him. He won the fight against Cleopatra's brother at a place called the Battle of the Nile. Cleopatra became the ruler of Egypt. Caesar stayed with her for some months in Egypt. Cleopatra later had a child by Caesar. After Egypt, Caesar traveled quickly to a place called Asia Minor. Here, a king named Pharnaces wanted to take land that was his father's. Pharnaces had won against some of Caesar's soldiers, but Caesar fought Pharnaces at a place called Zela. Caesar won the battle very fast. It was such a quick victory that he wrote about this win with 3 famous words: "I came, I saw, I conquered." This meant he arrived, saw the enemy, and won right away. After this quick win, Caesar went back towards Italy. But the war was not over yet. Some of Pompey's friends and other Romans who did not like Caesar were still fighting. They were in Africa. A man named Cato was with them, along with other leaders. They had soldiers and help from a king in Africa named Juba. Also, some people in Spain were now against Caesar and supported his enemies. Caesar went back to Italy for a short time. He made things better there and chose new leaders for the next year. Then he took his army to Africa to fight his enemies there. Landing in Africa was hard for Caesar's army. They had problems with supplies when they first arrived. Caesar's soldiers fought a battle at a place called Ruspina. Caesar did not win this fight. His army had problems there and suffered losses. After this, Caesar was more careful. He waited and tried to get some of the other side's soldiers to join him. The two armies met for a big fight at a place called Thapsus. Caesar's soldiers attacked even before he told them to, starting the battle. But they won the battle well. They fought hard and killed many of the enemy soldiers. After this big loss for his side, Cato killed himself in the city of Utica. Other leaders against Caesar also died or killed themselves. But some of Caesar's enemies, like Pompey's two sons, had moved to Spain. So Caesar had to go to Spain for one more fight. This was the last big fight of the Civil War. The battle was at a place called Munda. It was a very hard and bloody fight for both sides. For a time, it was not clear who would win, but Caesar's army won in the end. It was a close win. Many enemies were killed in the battle. One of Pompey's sons escaped, but the war was really finished now. After his final win in Spain, Caesar went back to Rome. He had won the civil war against all his enemies. He was now the most powerful man in Rome. People gave him many special honors to show their respect and his success. He had big parades called triumphs to show his wins to everyone in Rome. He had one for his victories in Gaul, one for Egypt, one for Asia Minor, and one for Africa. Later, he had another triumph for his win in Spain. These parades showed everyone his great victories in different parts of the world. He was made dictator. This meant he was in charge of everything important in Rome and the lands around it. The long civil war was over, and Caesar was the clear winner and the top leader. He started to make new rules and change things in Rome. He was preparing for new plans, like a big war far away in the east. His time as the top leader in Rome had begun. 7. Caesar is killed. After Caesar won the big war, he became the most powerful man in Rome. The Senate gave him many important jobs and titles. One important title was dictator. He was made dictator several times, and then he was made dictator for life in early 44 BC. This meant he could rule Rome alone for all his life. He wanted to make Rome better and stronger. He made many new rules and plans. One big change was the calendar. The old Roman calendar was not very good. Caesar made a new one, the Julian calendar. It had 365 days, like our calendar today. This was a very helpful change for everyone. He also changed the government structure. He made the Senate larger, adding many new senators, up to 900 men. Many of these new senators were men who helped him in the war. He also increased the number of people working in the government. Caesar also had plans for the Roman lands. He sent Roman people to start new towns, called colonies, in places outside Italy. This helped poor Romans get land and homes. He also gave Roman citizenship to more people in some areas, like parts of what is now northern Italy and Spain. He wanted to make more people feel like true Romans. He also started many big building projects in Rome to make the city more beautiful and useful. He also showed mercy to many people who had fought against him in the war. He pardoned them instead of punishing them. This was called clemency. The Senate gave Caesar many special honors, too. They put his picture on Roman coins. This was the first time a living Roman leader had his face on money. He was allowed to wear special clothes, like a purple robe, which was like a king's robe. He could sit on a special golden chair in the Senate. They put statues of him in temples and public places. The month he was born in, Quintilis, was renamed Julius after him. These honors showed how powerful he was. But all this power and these honors made many Romans worry. They feared that Caesar wanted to be a king. Romans hated the idea of kings. They had sent their kings away a long time ago and created the Republic. They believed that one man having too much power was bad for Rome and its people. Some people tried to call Caesar king, but he refused in public. However, he also removed two government officials, called tribunes, from their jobs because they stopped people from calling him king. This action made people even more worried about his intentions. Because of these fears, some important Romans made a secret plan. They wanted to stop Caesar and save the Republic. The plan to kill Caesar began quietly in the summer of 45 BC. The group of people who planned this grew. There were about 60 men in the group. Many were senators. Two of the most important leaders in this group were Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus. Brutus was a well-respected senator. He was a friend of Caesar, but he also believed strongly in the Roman Republic and its freedom. Cassius was another senator who had fought against Caesar and did not trust him. Other men who joined the plan included some who had been on Caesar's side in the Civil War. They felt that Caesar had gone too far and had become a tyrant. They believed that killing Caesar was necessary for Rome. The group decided to kill Caesar on March 15th in the year 44 BC. This day was known as the Ides of March. It was important because Caesar was planning to leave Rome very soon after this date to start a new war in another land. The conspirators knew this was their chance. They decided to kill him during a meeting of the Senate. The Senate was meeting that day in a large building that was part of a theater built by Pompey, Caesar's old enemy. On the Ides of March, Caesar went to the Senate meeting. The conspirators were waiting for him. As Caesar sat down on his special chair, the men gathered around him. They pulled out sharp knives called daggers which they had hidden under their clothes. They attacked Caesar quickly. He was stabbed many times by different men. Some stories say he was stabbed 23 times. He fell down at the base of a statue of Pompey. Caesar died there on the floor of the Senate meeting place. The powerful dictator was killed. 8. What happened next? After Julius Caesar died, Rome had big problems. The men who killed him went to a hill called the Capitoline. They thought people would be happy, but many Romans were not. A friend of Caesar's, Lepidus, brought soldiers into the city. Mark Antony was a consul, a top leader in Rome. He did not want to hurt the killers right away. He said Caesar was not a tyrant, so the killers should not be punished. The Senate allowed Caesar to have a public funeral. At the funeral, Mark Antony gave a speech. He showed the people Caesar's body and spoke about his good deeds. This made the people very angry at the men who killed Caesar. Crowds started riots in the streets. The assassins, like Brutus and Cassius, had to leave Rome to be safe. Later, Antony used soldiers to stop the riots. Caesar's will was read to the public. He gave money to all the people of Rome. This made them love him even more. In his will, Caesar also adopted his great-nephew, a young man named Octavian. Octavian became Caesar's son and main heir. Many Romans believed that Caesar became a god after his death. They saw a bright comet in the sky and thought it was a sign from the gods. Later, a temple was built in the Roman Forum to honor the deified Caesar. The old Roman Republic was not fixed. Instead, more civil wars began. Mark Antony and Octavian became the two most powerful men. They fought against the men who killed Caesar in a new war. This war happened in the eastern part of the Roman world. Antony and Octavian won this war. The assassins were defeated. Antony, Octavian, and Lepidus formed a group to rule Rome together. They were called the Second Triumvirate. They killed many people who were their enemies to get more power. They divided the Roman lands between them. But the Second Triumvirate did not last. Antony and Octavian began to fight each other. This led to the final civil war. Octavian won this war too. By 31 BC, Octavian was the only powerful leader left in the Roman world. Octavian was very smart. He did not say he was a king. He said he was giving power back to the Senate and the people, but he kept the real power for himself. This was the end of the Roman Republic and the start of the Roman Empire. Octavian took a new name, Augustus. He became the first Roman emperor. So, Caesar's death did not bring the Republic back. It brought more wars and the end of the Republic. It led to the rule of emperors, starting with Augustus. People still remember Julius Caesar today. He is seen as one of the greatest military commanders in history. His books about his wars, like the Gallic Wars, are still studied. His name, Caesar, became a title used by rulers in many countries for hundreds of years, like Kaiser in Germany and Tsar in Russia. His altar in the Roman Forum is still a place people visit, especially on March 15th, the day he died. His life and death changed the history of Rome and the world forever. What do you think was the biggest change in Rome after Caesar died? The start of new wars or the end of the Republic?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.